Pope Francis says the only community worth building is one where everybody has a place, where we all belong. At Catholic Charities, at the heart of our mission is that we belong to each other.
Catholic Charities is part of a network of agencies, Catholic Charities USA, which is part of a larger national and international network of Caritas. And within that entire network, extensive across the globe, our charge is to assure that the people in the Diocese of Portland in Oregon have access to the services they need in response to disasters.
Housing is important, in particular in times of disaster, because it's where people go to escape the disaster. It's where folks go inside to escape the smoke from wildfires. It's where kids do their school. It's where parents work. It's where families gather and eat. And it is their safety from those times of disaster.
Suffering is a part of the human condition. Suffering and struggle, it's a part of being human. And there's some who suffer more, and it's those that we open our doors to. It's those that we embrace as our brothers and sisters. Compassion means to suffer with. We're companions on the journey.
So we know that so many people have been at risk of losing their homes due to the impacts of COVID and wildfires. Our government, local, state, and even federal government have issued rent and eviction moratoriums to help protect people, but we know that those can't provide that protection forever. Here at Catholic Charities, we work so closely with every one of our residents to make sure that there's protection for them beyond those local and state measures, but we also work with them to ensure that they have the stability and security of their home that they can afford even outside of those times of emergency.
This has been a really stressful year for our residents. They've had to deal with reductions in their hours or the losses of a job. They've lost family members to the pandemic, and they've faced the daily stress of trying to keep their family safe, trying to keep themselves safe. This year, our resident service program has served more than 400 households across 3 counties through the pandemic, through wildfires. They've brought health services on site. They've arranged food pantries for residents. During the first couple of months of the pandemic, they called every single resident in every unit to make sure they knew how to access health care, that they knew what the symptoms of COVID were. They're a vital resource for our seniors, for our people with disabilities, and for families with children.
There are a lot of people who are going to be homeless on the street right now who never imagined that they would be homeless. They were living a very comfortable middle-class life, and then they lost their job due to COVID, and now they're on the street. Homelessness, disaster, it can happen to any of us. So we wrap people around with any services that we can find. What service integration means to us is you are not just a client at Housing Transitions Program or Save First. You are a client of Catholic Charities. And what that means is when you come into our door, either physically or virtually, we will look at your situation, we will talk to you about your hopes and dreams, and we will connect you with any and all services, both inside and outside the agency as we can, to help you have a holistic healing.
So I love my job because every day we get to make a difference in people's lives. The Save First Financial Wellness Program is a program that helps people when they're in emergency need and provides the tools to actually move out of poverty with lasting solutions. We provide rent and utility assistance to those that come seeking it from Catholic Charities and from different partnerships that we have. And then along with that, we provide the basics of budgeting, savings, debt reduction, and credit. And so they have then access to financial empowerment to, again, improve, and it's the lasting solutions of poverty and injustice. That's our mission. That's what we do.
2020 was a brutal year. Crisis hits, and no one is exempt from suffering, from the struggle. And there's those who suffer more. And it's those that we're called to respond to. And Catholic Charities steps up.
Being an immigrant that has been affected hardly for this disaster is difficult. We have suffered so much. When the fires burnt everything down, all these houses, trailers, and places where families were just living for years and generations even. That fire took everything. Catholic Charities came to see the immigrants that suffer, and we were able to provide a lot of hope and help to them. And it was great seeing how they received our help, but more important, how they were able to talk to someone that understood them in their own language, and how they were grateful for the help that we provide.
Food in disaster is one of the most essential components to making sure that somebody's secure and stable. There's a lot of folks who have had to choose between paying the rent and whether or not they're going to eat, or choosing to not eat themselves because they need to feed their children. And so we have quite a few clients who have given up meals completely during the pandemic. We were able to respond really quickly to a very rapidly emerging food crisis. And so we expanded our food distribution by about 4,000% over the course of 3 weeks.
We know in the short term that our communities are remarkable in how much they pour out immediately upon a disaster of any kind, a flood, a hurricane, fires. But the long-term recovery, which goes on for 5 to 10 years, is something that really has to be organized separately. And that's the work that Catholic Charities is responsible for.
So we work with some of the most resilient folks on the planet Earth. Like if you look at like what a refugee has to go through, or if you look at like what an asylum seeker has to go through, somebody who's lived and housed for many, many years, the level of resilience that you need just to get through a day, like those things are already inherent in those folks. All that we're doing is providing them with the access that they need to be able to use the potential of their resiliency.
It is a painful time, really, really destabilizing. But what I know is that we will all come together and put different pieces of this puzzle together until we can provide a path forward and a resilience for the community, for the individuals to get to that next step. And it's building steps along the way. But with our entire community and faith and mission behind us, I know that we'll help drive people to that direction.
It becomes more likely that we will be responding to disasters as a normal part of life in America. It's what we're designed to do, it's what we're going to become better at. Catholic Charities is built for times like these.